Hey guys! So today it is time for my spending update for the third quarter of 2021. So all throughout 2021, I'm really just trying to be intentional with my spending on makeup items. At the beginning of the year, I kind of set some goals for how I wanted to make that happen, and each quarter of the year I've been updating you guys on everything that I've purchased and just kind of sharing my thoughts and feelings on those items and whether or not I regret those purchases. I figured for this video it would be fun to rank all the purchases from my least favorite to my favorite, just to kind of switch it up a little bit. But I also wanted to share with you my spending total for the last 3 months. So I was actually really surprised when I sat down to calculate this total number, because I actually spent the least of all 3 quarters of the year so far. In quarter 3, so from July through end of September, I only spent $95.72 on makeup, which is an average of like $33 a month. And for comparison, in quarter 1, I spent $243.44, and in quarter 2, I spent $190.19. So I spent less than half of what I did last quarter, and way less than half of what I spent in the first quarter. So it's interesting that my spending totals this year so far, at least, have steadily decreased, which I feel like means I'm doing a good job just kind of keeping my spending in check and being minimal with what I bring in. For these spending check-ins, I'm only focusing on products that I have purchased myself, just makeup items, and I'm not including PR in any of this. I just want to focus on my own personal spending habits. So my spending total for the year so far is $527.35. And that is what I have actually spent, not necessarily the retail value of each of these products. I am factoring in if I used a coupon or got anything on sale. For some of these, I've lost my receipt, but I'm estimating those as close as I can to what I spent, not just the retail value. So I'm very happy with the way things are going this year. But the other reason I was surprised when I sat down to list out all these purchases and calculate my total was, for some reason I felt like I'd bought a lot of makeup this quarter, but I bought 4 palettes, so I think that's why I feel like I bought a lot. All 4 of those were drugstore palettes though, so the total was, not as much as you might expect for 4 palettes. And I've only really had like 5 total shopping trips, if you will. 2 of those were Ulta orders. One of them was a Walmart like in-store purchase. I bought a few things. And then 2 of those were Walgreens. So I haven't really been shopping a whole lot for makeup recently. So let's go ahead and get into the products that I've bought, and I'm gonna do this ranking style so we can kind of take a critical look at what I bought and the things. Some of these things I was not super happy with. There are 11 items here. The first one I disliked so much that I've already decluttered it. I did declutter it in my last collection declutter video that I posted a week or 2 ago, and it was the CoverGirl Easy Breezy Brow pencils. Now, not the retractable Easy Breezy Brow, but the actual wooden pencils. It came in a 2-pack along with a little sharpener, and it was such a good deal. I bought this at Walmart. I think it was like around $4 at Walmart. These were so bad. I used them in my chopping block video. If you want to see, I kind of gave them one last chance in that video. Terrible. Definitely the worst brow product I have ever tried, because it was such a stiff formula that you had to press down so hard to get any color to come off of the pencil. So stiff and just painful to use because you had to just bear down so hard. And the shade also was a little bit off. I mean, sometimes that happens. That's not the biggest deal in the world, but it definitely pulled very red for my brows when I normally prefer more of like a kind of ashy taupe color. So that was terrible, so bad that I have already decluttered it. Most things I don't declutter that quickly. I usually try to find a way to make them work, but that was a no-go. So my next least favorite product, and I'm including this in my spending total because it's a makeup tool and I do count that as a makeup purchase. It's this pencil sharpener from Walgreens. It was just the Walgreens brand, their eye and lip pencil sharpener. It was $1.99. And I'm not very happy with this because the smaller side doesn't really work to sharpen a lot of my smaller pencils, like my CoverGirl Kohl eyeliner pencil, my Urban Decay lip liner. I think that the hole is maybe just a little bit too big or something, but it doesn't really sharpen them, Like I just twist the pencil around, it takes a little bit off, but it doesn't actually like shave off any of the pencil. So I'm a little disappointed. I bought this to replace my Urban Decay Grindhouse pencil sharpener because I'd had that one for so long, and I realized that that one was actually like causing a lot of my smaller pencils to break. I even cleaned it out really, really well with like my cellar water and like a Q-tip. I really got up in there and scrubbed, and it still was doing that. So I think that it was just time to retire that one. I might keep that one though for the wider side, because that is one of the only pencil sharpeners I've ever found that you can actually fit some of those like chubbier pencils into. This one I actually tried using, you can see, for my NYX Jumbo pencil in Milk, and the entire tip just broke off into here. And I am gonna blame the pencil sharpener and not the pencil, because I don't think that pencil is that soft that it would do that. So coming in at number 10, that is my second least favorite purchase of the quarter. I was hoping that I was getting a really good bargain on like a good, decent, affordable pencil sharpener, but so far, not so good. So really, the CoverGirl brow pencils and the pencil sharpener are the only things that I don't like so far. All the other products are at least good, you know, none of them are duds. But this next one at number 9, it's not bad at all. It's just kind of a boring like replacement product, but I did need a new nail top coat because my old one just got way too gloopy and like thick, and it just was not working anymore. So I ended up picking out the Orly top to bottom base and top coat because it seemed like kind of a good 2-in-1 product. So far, I like it. I've only used it like 2 or 3 times now, but I like it. It's good. I would recommend it. I think it's pretty inexpensive as well. So Orly makes really good nail products from what I've tried so far. I also like their Bonder base coat, but I'm hoping that now I'll only need one product for both my base and top coat, which is nice because I really don't paint my nails all that often. More often than not, I wear press-ons. Don't mind the fact that I'm currently missing 2 of them. This nail I painted over with like a light pink just to kind of hide the fact that it came off, but I need to redo my nails. Anyway, point is, I really only use this mainly on my toes or the rare occasion that I paint my fingernails, so I don't need anything too fancy or extravagant for that. Alright, so this next product was another Walmart purchase, and this was a $5 product from Profusion. This is product number 8 on my ranking list. It's the Profusion Pastel palette. So I have a video where I tested this out. I think it was the first time I tested it out. I did a look with it. I've also done 2 looks now on my Instagram Reels if you'd like to check those out. This is another one of their 10-pan palettes that I totally fell for. When I stumbled across this at Walmart, it was before they'd officially launched it. I think that certain Walmarts had just had them out early, and I couldn't help myself because I searched online to see if there were any reviews of it, any like YouTube videos at all. No one had done a single review of this palette, so I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna be the first one to test it out and review it online. So that's what I did. I just couldn't help it. But I definitely was taking a little bit of a risk by purchasing this because I didn't have the best luck with their Spectrum palette, which is another kind of all matte colorful palette, but I'm a sucker for pastels and also a sucker for a good deal, so I got it anyway. And I like this palette. One of the palettes that we're about to talk about that is higher up in my rankings, I would recommend over this one, even though it is more expensive. But I would say if you're wanting to add some pastel eyeshadows to your collection and you're not wanting to spend a whole lot of money because maybe you know you don't wear those types of shades very often, or you don't know how they're going to look on you and you just want to kind of experiment and play around, I would recommend this. I do think that it's pretty crucial to use these over some sort of white base like the NYX Jumbo pencil in Milk or something similar, just to help them pop a little bit better. I would honestly recommend that for a lot of pastel eyeshadows, not just these, but half of these shades are true mattes and half of them are mattes with little flecks of glitter mixed in, which I know is not everyone's cup of tea. Not my favorite. I wish they were just either all matte or like half matte, half shimmer. I do want to point out also, I wish that they didn't put 3 blues in here out of 10 shades. I wish they would have replaced one of these with like some other type of color because I just don't feel like I need 3 sort of similar blue colors in one palette. They are all different, but I like how like Clarity is a little bit more of like a cool tone sky blue and like Thankful is a little bit more of a aqua blue, but I feel like Wishful is just kind of a slightly lighter version of Thankful, so I think they could have replaced this with maybe like a light peach or something like that, but I don't mind too much. I do enjoy blue eyeshadow, so it's not that big of a deal to me. These definitely do require some building, and I have noticed some of them do kind of blend away, which I think is also kind of a common issue with pastel shadows in general. They're just very light eyeshadows, so it's going to be harder to get them to show up. But I do find that using them with the NYX Jumbo Pencil really helps, and just kind of packing them on and not over blending. So that is what I'll say about this. Is it a must-have? No. Is it my favorite pastel palette of all time? No. But I'm still glad I got it to kind of quell my curiosity. Is that the right way to say that? Yeah, I was just curious. I had to know if it was any good, and I would just say it's kind of average, kind of what you'd expect for a $5 palette. I would say it's good for the price, but is it good compared to palettes of all other price points? No. Okay, so next up we have another Profusion product that I purchased in a separate trip to Walgreens, actually, and I just posted a video on this. This is their new Beam It Up kit, a $7 kit that I believe is a Walgreens exclusive. You can also get it on Profusion's website, of course, but I think I have figured out that this is part of their like limited edition Halloween collection. They also have a 9-pan palette called the UFO palette in this collection, and a few other items. This was another thing that I stumbled across while I was at Walgreens, and I just couldn't help myself. I had to see if it was any good. I swear, these inexpensive Profusion products, really any brand that makes very inexpensive products, I have a very hard time resisting them because I love finding like hidden drugstore gems. So it was $7 for this cute little triangular palette, and I love this sort of extraterrestrial alien kind of color story vibe here, especially with the silver, the green, the lime green, the blue. I did a 2 looks 1 palette with this just recently, so if you want to see that, I'll link it for you below. But long story short, these did not swatch well at all, but they actually performed much better on my eyes than I would have expected based on how they swatched. So I'm actually very happy with this. I like it better than the formula of the Pastel palette. I like it better than the Profusion Spectrum palette that I had a while ago. Yeah, all of the mattes, even though they swatch kind of sheer, they're very buildable and they don't blend away as far as I can tell so far. So I like it. I'm glad I bought it. Now, the kit also came with this eyeliner pencil that sucks. This, I wish they would have just left it out. I was really hoping, because on the box that it came in, it said that this was a neon liner, and it's not a neon liner. It is a like dull sort of grape purple, and it's a very kind of waxy pencil that really doesn't have good staying power at all. It's kind of sheer. I was really hoping that this was one of their like liquid neon liners that they have, because I've been wanting to try those for a while, and that's what I was thinking it would be because they said it was neon on the box, but I feel like they just kind of included this as almost like a throwaway product just so that they could call it a kit and charge a little bit more. But I probably would have paid $7 for just this palette alone, so I don't know why they included this crap eyeliner pencil, but you know, it's not horrible. It's a decent color. Not really a color I feel like goes with a lot of these eyeshadows though. But I decided to rank these both as one kind of unit because they were sold together. But if I were ranking them separately, this would have been ranked much lower. You know what I mean? Either way though, I still am happy that I bought it for the palette alone because I think it's really good. Alright, so number 6, this was kind of a replacement purchase because I had used up a very similar product before this, but this is the Revolution Neon Heat Liquid Liner in the shade Sky Blue. I bought this on Ulta online to replace my Wet n Wild liquid liner in Voltage Blue. Very, very similar color. I find this to be a great replacement for that liner. To be honest, I've only used this, I think, once so far, but the one time I used it, I really liked it. It's a beautiful, vibrant color. I wouldn't call it a neon either. What is with all these brands calling things neon? This is definitely more neon, though, than that Profusion pencil, but it's really more like just kind of like a bright sky blue, really pretty color, kind of a cobalt blue. And after I used up my Wet n Wild one, I wanted a replacement because I just love that color as an eyeliner so much. So very glad I bought that. And so far, I like it a lot. This I paid $6.33 for because I used a $5 off coupon on my order, so it took off like a little bit of each item. Number 5 is another product that I bought at Walmart at the same time that I bought the Pastel palette and the CoverGirl brow pencils. This is the E.L.F. lip lacquer in the shade Fantasy. I was really curious to try this formula because I really like the E.L.F. lip plumping glosses, and this is half the price of those. It's only $3. And Fantasy is this really pretty kind of shimmery champagne color. Didn't really have any other glosses quite like this, so that's why I chose this one. And I like this. I think this is great for, I mean, for the price, but even just regardless of the price, I think it's a nice lip gloss. It's not overly sticky. It's a really beautiful color. It's pretty on its own, but it's also pretty to wear on top of other lipsticks. Just to kind of like almost transform the shade and make it a little bit more dimensional. To compare it to the E.L.F. lip plumping gloss, it doesn't have that tingly, like menthol-y sort of feeling on your lips because it's not meant to be a plumping gloss. It does have a little bit more of like a balmy texture than a lot of glosses, so it's not quite as like gel-like and sticky. So I don't find that it has like the best staying power ever, but I mean, I feel like no gloss really has great staying power though, you know, but I really like it. If you're looking for like a less sticky gloss, I would definitely recommend this. All right, product number 4 is a mascara that I bought from Walgreens for $10. I feel like that was kind of a high price for this. They were having, I think, a buy one, get one 50% off CoverGirl, but I didn't really want anything else, so I just went ahead and bought this on its own. But this is the CoverGirl Lash Blast Volume Mascara in the shade Brown. So I don't remember the last time I had a brown mascara. I think the last time I had one was probably in high school. And I don't know why I haven't bought a brown mascara in so long. Honestly, I blame YouTube because I feel like most YouTubers use exclusively black mascara. And so I just thought that was the way to go. That was like what everyone was using. So that must be the best kind to get. But recently, I just started wondering to myself, I feel like I would enjoy a brown mascara because lately I've also been really into brown eyeliner. So I decided to pick one up in a formula that I already know I love, the CoverGirl Lash Blast, because I have had this in the past in black. I am wearing this today, so the thing about brown mascara is it's not going to make your lashes stand out and look quite as dramatic, obviously, as a black mascara, and this is a true brown. I mean, you can see the product coating the wand. The wand itself is black, so you can see it really is a true brown. And so far, I like it. I think this is going to be good for days where I'm just wearing a softer look, maybe a day where I'm not wearing eyeliner. That way my lashes would stand out a little bit more. This is only the second day I've worn it, but so far I do still like this formula, and I haven't, so far, had any issues with smudging, which is good because a lot of mascaras have been smudging on me this year. But I didn't get the waterproof version, just the regular. I don't like waterproof mascaras because they're just really hard to remove. But this is one of those mascara formulas that kind of does it all. It's lengthening, it's volumizing, and it's good for separation. It's got like a nice kind of rubber bristle brush, but the bristles are nice and short, so it's not gonna like stab you in the eyeball, which is nice. And I just feel like it does a good job like coating every lash. So I think there's a reason why this is such a popular mascara formula. It really is one of my favorite drugstore mascaras that I've tried. And it's also kind of a little bit of a drier formula. You know how some mascaras feel like very wet when you first open them? This one, it already feels like slightly dried out when you open it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You know what I'm saying? It's also not as messy as some other like more wet mascara formulas. So there you go. All right, so then we've got another couple of palettes. And I had a hard time ranking these against one another because I really like them both. For the number 3 spot, I'm going to have to give it to the BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles palette. I purchased this from Ulta and I spent $15.37. That was the same purchase where I had a $5 off coupon. So it normally retails for $16, I believe, or maybe $17. I think $17. But I had been eyeing this palette for so long, and I'm glad I finally got it. It's got a lot of beautiful pastels in it. I like that it's a good mix of mattes and shimmers, and it's just a fun, colorful palette. A couple of things I've realized about this palette. Number one, it doesn't go very deep at all. I think the deepest shade you get in here is like maybe this purple, this blue, this sort of like medium brown, but it really is a very light, airy kind of pastel palette. These shadows perform great, just what you'd expect from BH Cosmetics. They do eyeshadows so well. Haven't found a dud shade in here yet. I bought this and the one we're about to talk about after this right at the very end of summer. And this is normally the kind of color story that I use a lot in like the spring and summer. So I think next spring and summer I'm going to be using this a ton. But even still, I've used it several times already and I've enjoyed it every time. And you can definitely get a more like earthy fall look out of this palette with like Runyon Canyon, Rodeo Drive, the like yellowy gold. The only thing I've noticed about this palette, and I think this is the reason why I'm ranking this a little bit lower than the other BH Cosmetics palette that I bought, is that it's not the most cohesive color story, not the most intuitive layout of colors here. Like I said before, there's no really deep shades, so you're definitely going to get a pretty light look with this palette. But the other thing is, even just the way that these shades are arranged, it's a little random, you know, they're kind of just all scattered in here, and you do kind of have to think a little bit about what colors you're pairing together because they don't all go together super easily. So yeah, but I think it's a great palette for anyone who's wanting to just play around with some colors, and if you like pastels, you'll love this palette. And I would say if you want some pastel eyeshadows, I'd recommend this over the Profusion Pastel palette. I know it's like 3 times the price, but you can often get it on sale on their website. They do have sales pretty frequently, so you could probably get it for around $10 if you wait for a sale. And I just think the quality of these is way, way superior to the Profusion quality, and you're getting some shimmers as well as mattes. Alright, so in second place, honestly, these top 3 purchases, they might as well be all tied. I mean, I love them all. But in second place, I have the BH Mimosa palette. This is the other one I bought at the same time as the Lost in Los Angeles. And I was going back and forth on which one of these I wanted, if I wanted both or just one or the other. But I ended up just getting both because I really wanted both. This I paid $16.27 for. I think this normally retails for $18, whereas the Los Angeles one retails for $17. This is a beautiful, bright, pink and coral kind of palette. Another one that I'm going to be loving in the spring and summer because that's when I really get into these kinds of tones. A lot of pinks in here. If you don't like pink eyeshadow, you definitely want to stay far away from this because it's predominantly pink. My only critique of this is I wish there were more oranges in here. I wish they would have maybe replaced some of those bright pinks with like another couple of oranges because I just think that would make sense for a palette called Mimosa. Mimosas are usually made of orange juice. I mean, I know I guess they can have other types of juice in there too, but there's really only one orange shade. So I think that would make me like this palette even more, but I still think it's stunning. I love peaches and corals, oranges, yellows, basically all these colors I love to wear, especially in the spring and summer. So I cannot wait to use this then. But I actually wanted to say I even got a beautiful kind of more fall look with this, with really just a couple of shades. It was kind of a halo eye. I used Happy Hour on my inner and outer corners. That's just kind of a medium warm brown. And then I think I used a little bit of We Heart Brunch as like a transition color. And then in the center of my lid, I used Bubbly, and that's just this shimmery sort of pinky champagne color. So that was a great fall look. Definitely, I think if you'd seen that look on me, you wouldn't have guessed that I'd use this palette for that, but you can totally get a very simple, neutral, sort of fall-themed look with this as well. So, very happy with that. Do not regret either of these palette purchases whatsoever. My number one favorite, this is the one thing that I bought in the 21 Days of Beauty sale. I don't normally shop the 21 Days of Beauty sale. I don't know, this might have been the first time in a couple of years that I've even bought anything in the sale. But I decided to take advantage of the sale and pick up one of these Nabla Skin Glazing highlighters because I just heard so many good things and I've been wanting to try Nabla for a long time. So this I got for half off. It was on sale for $12. And I paid $12.96, that's like including tax and everything. This is a beautiful kind of almost duochrome highlighter. It's like a peachy golden shade, and I didn't really have any other highlighters quite like that. I was a little nervous that this was going to be too dark for me because it's kind of hard to tell online, but this was the shade I really wanted just based on the description and everything. But it does work very well for me. I'm happy that I got it. I think if you have skin any fairer than mine, this might be a little bit too dark for you, but I think this is a great shade for like light to medium skin tones. So oh, it's so pretty. It's a very smooth highlighter. It kind of gives you that sort of glass skin effect. It doesn't really emphasize texture too much compared to a lot of highlighters at least. I use a nice like fluffy brush to just diffuse it out and it looks so pretty. So really happy I bought this, even happier that I got it for such a good deal. I don't think I would have bought this. I think the fact that it was in the 21 Days of Beauty sale and a lot of people were recommending it, that's what kind of prompted me to look into it and purchase it. I don't think I would have bought it at full price. But now that I've tried it, I really, really like it. So that is my intentional spending check-in for Q3. It's been really nice to periodically sit down and reflect on all the things I've bought. I feel like it helps me make better spending decisions in the future. So I've really been enjoying filming these videos this year. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you've not already. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and hopefully I'll talk to you again very soon in my next video. Bye.